Hello, hello. It's me, I'm here. Just getting ready to finish up some projects. So, let's get our apron on so we don't ruin our clothes. So, hey guys, how is everybody today? Who all got snow? Everywhere I look today, Canada, US, everywhere, everyone seemed to be posting snow pictures. I didn't get snow. I don't know, I must be in a hot spot because we did not get snow. So we did get rain, and I shouldn't say we didn't get snow. We did get snow. We did not get an accumulation of snow. So we did not have any weight on the ground. So that was kind of cool. So if you had snow, say snow, or let me know. Let me know what happened at your house today. Yeah, I think everybody was a little surprised to see that much snow happening. So we're just going to finish the inside of this pot. I realized I missed one yesterday. And then we're going to get on with putting the transfers on. And I'm going to show you how I make the molds that I glue on the edges. So hey, say hello if you've arrived. My name is Diana, and I am the owner, curator, designer, chief bottle washer, and all the things at Welcome Home Interiors, where we create or help you create a place where you belong and others long to be, creating home decor and so much more. All right, so back onto flower pots. We're still working on our flower pots. Spring is coming. Mother's Day is coming. We're trying to get some of the items ready for all the shows that are coming up. And I thought, well, might as well get on here and chit chat with people and share some of the techniques. So if you're on here, you'll see how I do things. Not that I know all, but I've been painting for a while. So I am not going to be doing any freehand painting on these. The next batch of flower pots, I may hand paint some roses. I used to paint roses. So if anybody is watching that has seen me paint before, let me know if you want to see how I do my stroke roses. So they're done with, they're called one stroke flowers, or it's where I use one paintbrush and I do all of the highlight, shadow, shading, all the things at once. So let me know if you're interested in seeing a demonstration on roses. Spring coming and summer, it's time to start thinking of all the flowers and all the beautiful gardens that everybody is wanting to create. Way too much paint on this brush because I used it to clean the lid out. So today we're going to be putting the transfers on the flower pots we painted yesterday. I just wanted to paint the inside of this one, and I did a consultation on phone with my sweet daughter, and she said let's do a green one. So we've got one, green inside. So this green is called Dune Grass. It's sort of a soft, I don't know if you can see it, it's a soft sort of I'm not even going to say mossy green. It's almost like a sagey green, but it's a little bit on the blue side. So it's called Dune Grass. And yeah, so we want to have a nice soft green one as well. So we have some light blues. We've got some beachy turquoise, aqua color. Here's the pale blue inside. We've got a light purple. Here I'm breaking flower pots. No, I didn't break it, but it fell over. And this is what we're going to do today. We're going to show you how to do these transfers and this molding. That's what the plan is for today. But I just needed to get some paint on this one flower pot, and I wanted to get on here and get going. So we're here. We're here because we're here. I did the yellow pots as well, so the yellow ones are done. Isn't that a pretty yellow? This is called Yellow Wellies. like rubber boots. Isn't that pretty? So we've got a couple in that colorway. So we're getting these all ready for the spring market. They'll be for sale. So if anybody's looking for a cute flower pot, they'll be at the market. They're here at the studio as well. So whatever's here at the studio is for sale, of course. And then I just load up whatever's left over and I take it to the market. So that's the plan. All right. So let me know what color you prefer of the colors I just showed you. The aqua, the soft, the baby blue, the very soft baby blue, the sort of a lavendery purple, the dark navy type blue, summer navy, the yellow, or this pretty soft green. What color do you like the best? I'll move them over here so you can see them. I've got my camera in a different angle today, pointing at me. We don't need to look at me. There's the flower pots over there. And there's the yellow one as well. You can see the corner of it. Sorry, I shook the thing. Let's get some of this extra crud out of the way. We don't need to be looking at bottles. And let's put this pretty summery looking. There, that one there. There's the yellow. We've got the navy with the blue. There's the, this is what we're working on today to do these. We're getting these ready to go. So that is the big plan. The soft blue one there is done. So I've got a couple of them already finished because I wanted to make sure I showed you all the steps. And this is a continuation of yesterday where we just painted and chatted. So, and this time I forgot to put background music on, so it's quiet in here today. With no music on, I had to run some errands. I'm doing some dance costumes, sewing up some dance costumes for a recital that's coming up. So I had to go pick up the fabric for that, you know, because I don't have enough to do. But if anybody knows, I used to be a dancer and I love the theater and the costumes and all the things. And my mom would sew our dance costumes when we were girls. Us and the other girls, because not all the moms could sew. And because I can sew, and I know there's a lot of moms that have to work and they can't do all the things for their girls, I'm more than willing to help out and give back to the arts and entertainment industry. So that's what's going on. So I had to run out and grab the fabric for that from the dance studio. And yeah, okay, so there's our green one. So we've got the green one base coated, so we'll set it aside to dry. What color? What's your favorite color that we've done so far, guys? Let me know in the comments what your favorite color is for flower pot. This purple is so pretty. Look at this purple. We're actually going to do that next. So, okay. So, next we are going to, no, we're going to put all the transfers on first. Let's do it in order. Let's not get out of sync here, Diana. You're going to get too many things on the go. All right. So, let's put this aside for now. So, the next step is to put the transfers on. So, in order to do that, why do I see a screwdriver? Because it's sitting on top of my flower pot instead of in my toolbox. All right. So we are going to use the blue transfers. And we're going to do the blue ones with the blue transfers. And then we are going to put black and white transfers on the yellow and the, I have one on that one. I have one on that. So these are already done. These ones are done. So this one's done. It just needs glazing. And this one's done. It just needs glazing. So we're going to do the blue, and then we'll do the finishing up of those. So the blue and the yellow flower pots need transfers. So let's get that started. So for the large flower pot, I'm going to use the largest transfer that I have, and that would probably be this guy right here. And I'm just going to measure, and I will not get it all on there. So the picture gallery for all good boys and girls, London. We could do that one, but that's just words. want it to be about flowers. So we'll do that one. Okay, so scissors. Hiding in here. So what I'm using here are, I get these IOD transfers from a friend of mine, Julie, over at Heritage House. Is it Heritage House, Julie? I don't know if Julie's on here. And that's where I get the transfers. If you're interested in the colored ones. So she has black, white, and blue in this package. Otherwise, we do carry transfers as well by ReDesign by Prima. And here is our label transfers. We only have them in the white, in the black here. So I needed blue, so I grabbed some from Julie over at Homestead. Why can't I think? It's Homestead. Sorry, Julie, I can't remember the name of your company. That's not good. All right, so let's put this top one on. I have no idea what it says, but do I really need to know? We're going to put that one on this flower pot. And we need a smaller design for the smaller pot. So let's put the roses on that one, or maybe this will fit. Will this one fit? It will just fit, and I will have to cut it into smaller bits in order for it to work. So that's what we'll do. No big deal. So we are doing this collection in of pots in the blue and the white. And then the next set we are going to do in the black and the white. So let's choose our designs for that one. And I'll see if I have anything with bees on it. I wanted bees on the next one. And I don't in here. But we have a royal duck or a royal goose. And we have a fox. But the pot's not very large. The fox will fit, but not the words underneath. So let's pop over to the next. See if there's anything in here that will fit. So I'm creating along with you guys. I didn't pre-plan any of this other than I knew what we were doing today, which is pre-planning on my part because that's usually not what I do. And we'll just look and see if there's anything in here that is small enough. These ones are much larger. Much larger. So we may not have anything in here that will work on our little flower pot, but I do see a bee, and I wanted one with a bee. So I'm going to just see if I can get the bee on there. I think I can. I think I can, said the little engine. And then we have a larger bee here, but he's too big for that. So we are going to do this bee logo. Can you see this bee here? This one on the yellow pot. And then I think we're going to use the shallow pot. I won't be able to get any of this on. So I think I will use for the green flower pot. Do we want to do another bee on the green one? I didn't put yellow in here. It's a thicker pot, a deeper pot. This is a shallow pot. This is the one I'm going to be putting probably crocuses in. So I have just plain bees here that maybe I could put on the side of this one. Just a bee. And I'll find some words to go with it. Maybe that will work for that one. Okay. So let's start with this one. Get everything cut out and then we can just go with it. I'm going to cut out this bee in the laurel wreath for our smaller pot. So that'll go in there. I'm going to cut out the bees. It says bees, queen, and queen. And what else does it say on here? Let's see. MME Boulivi. Oh, it's backwards. You can't read it. I'm going to put that on this pot, on the shallow pot. I think I'm going to put the butterfly on the green pot because we all know we love ourselves some butterflies. And then I'm going to use one of the single bees, one of these bees, and I'll put it on this pot as well. And we will see how that works. Careful. Cut out everything underneath it. Yes, if we do this together, maybe we'll put this and then, I don't know if we can do it, which way we'll do it, or maybe a bee on each side. Let's cut out the second bee just to be on the safe side. And then if we don't use it, we can always put it back in the container with the other bees. All right, so I think that's what we're going to use for today. This is what you don't want to do. It sticks to everything. And unfortunately, it'll take off the design, which it did. If you're not super careful, and I wasn't super careful, and I've lost some of my design. See, it came off on the backer. So be very careful, guys, with this backer sheet that you'll need it on. So we will use the design off of that for something that I can hide the flowers that are missing. I'll stick a bee on it. All right, so there's our transfers for today. So let's get started with that. Let's start with the blue. So here's our clay flower pot. We've painted it with white on the outside, the blue on the inside called Starstruck. It's a nice shade of blue. And we are just going to take a cloth. So I normally take a towel. Try not to knock all my cloths. I cut up all the old t-shirt rags so that I could have lots of rags in the studio. So we're just going to take this and make a little cradle to set that in. So we can work on that and it doesn't roll around on us. And now we're just going to take our transfer off the backer sheet, and it's just sitting there. It's not stuck or anything. It's just to protect the label from sticking to everything behind it. And we are going to place it on our surface. And once we place it down, we are ready to go. We're going to take our transfer tool and just start rubbing on that. And all we're doing is rubbing off the transfer off of the plastic backer onto the flower pot. And you can cut this apart into smaller sections if you're not comfortable, or if you're worried that it's going to not stick properly. I'm a daredevil, so I don't typically fret too much about much. Everything's fixable, right? All right, so we're going to put these flowers on now. I'm not going to rub the 1888 on yet. I'm going to hopefully be able to get that to fit on without it being too much trouble. And if it doesn't stick down yet, I may raise it up a little bit, but we'll see how that's going. I may have pressed it on too hard already. So you're just going to rub the transfer on. So is anybody else finding that the week is going rather slowly? I know yesterday was a holiday for a lot of people. And it's only Tuesday, but I'm telling you, it feels like it should be the weekend already. And it's only Tuesday, so. Okay, so we're just rubbing this on. Just using this rub-on tool. And you just peel it back gently and pay attention. If it lifts off with the back or the paper, you just need to rub that spot a little bit more. And for those of you that don't like to paint or do lettering, these transfers are perfect for that because it lets you have a really pretty design and you don't have to be a painter or whatnot. So it's kind of nice that way. All right, so there it is so far. Now the 1888 is still on here, so I'm just going to raise it up just a little bit on the design, and I'm going to rub that on. And then we are going to burnish everything onto the, make sure it's all on there nice. Perfect. So what I do now that it's all rubbed on there, I just take the back of this sheet, or you can take the backer sheet, and I just give it a little bit of a buff and rub it on just to get all the little edges to sit down. I'm doing a live mic. That's okay. And there you have it. So that's the one with the blue and the white and the blue lettering. Isn't that beautiful? So that's number one. So let's go on to the next one. Go on to the large blue. And it's large enough that I won't have to worry about lifting up anything from that. So we just press it on, and then we just start burnishing. My son just got home from work. And that's his dog that was visiting the other day, Nellie. She likes to come out and hang out with her Nana. It's my grandpapa, one of my grandpuppies. So, I forgot to close my door. Normally I close my door and I have a live sign that I stick on there so my family knows when I'm doing a live on here. Okay, so there's the second one. So we're gonna gently peel back, and I see that I didn't even get that one started down there. So we'll just peel it back slowly and watch that. I'm just watching in here. Now you can see that letters didn't stick, so I'm going to put it right back down, and I'm going to rub on that again. So if it doesn't stick, you just lay it back down and just start rubbing it again, just to get everything to stay in place. And peel it back slowly, and just keep your eye on all the places that you're peeling back to make sure that it is actually sticking. The funny part is sometimes I just use my finger and I don't use the burnishing tool to make it stick down. People laugh at me how I do it, but you know, that's okay. I've got broad shoulders, so I don't mind. Okay, so here we go. I'm just slowly lifting. I've burnished it. So pretty much everywhere should be sticking, but some of it's just stubborn and wants to stay on the backing paper or on its transfer sheet. And that's okay too. What I like about these transfers is it gives you that nice design, and I don't have to, I mean, I could get some nice designs with my Cricut and create some beautiful French labels, but the detail on these is just much nicer. And I find when I use the Cricut vinyl, it's too thick. I'm not, I don't like the thickness of it. So I find that this is just perfectly smooth. You can't even feel that there's anything there. So that is why I prefer to do it this way. All right, so there's that one on, and we'll just give it a rub down to make sure all of the edges are down. Now, I don't know if you watched yesterday, but I was talking about sometimes the flower pot, the paint sucks into the clay pot, and you can sort of see light and dark areas. Because I'm going to be distressing this, it's not a problem for me. So I'm just leaving it like that. So there's the blue inside and the blue label on that one. And I have two more to do in the yellow, but I'm going to carry on to the next step, and I'll do those later, because I want you to see how we do the fancy stuff. So the fancy border stuff. And then tomorrow Am I on tomorrow? I think I'm on tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow, and I'll show you how I do the glazing of the edges. I might do the ones that are already dry because they're already dried and painted. Maybe I'll do those and show you that, depending on how busy it is today. Okay, so next we are showing you, so that was the rub-on transfers by from ReDesign with Prima. And the next thing we're going to do is make some molds. So what I have here is a jar of cornstarch. I've got my my paper clay. I get that off of Amazon. And I have my molds. And I have 2 molds that I can use. So this one has the bees on it. So I could use the bees on the one transfer or the one shallow flower pot and just put the words and use the bees. I may do that. And I have the larger bees on this one, and a crown and a laurel wreath, and another piece of border here. So these are the only 2 molds that I have, and I need a straight strip to go across the flower pot. So in order to do that, I am going to use this wreath motif, and all I'll do is I will break it apart when I take it out of the mold and stretch it out flat. So I'll show you how I do that. So I'll put my camera down a little bit. I'm going to move my yellow flower pots out of the way. Too bad they sit together too nicely. I've got flower pots that are nesting together, but they're exactly the same size. So my concern is that they will they'll fall. Okay, so I have a craft mat down. So I put my craft mat down here. I like to use a craft mat so that I can get the, sorry, I'm talking too much. Let's see, how long have I been on here? I don't want to be on too long. I know that drives people crazy. All right, so we're going to use this mold today. But I do have that other one. This one is for doorknobs. It's got clocks here and laurel, so you can add them to door pulls, cabinet knobs, or whatnot. I've added these to little flower pots before as decoration as well. So I think a little bug, a fly, or whatever on a flower pot is super cute. I know it's supposed to be a bee, but I call it a fly. It looks like a fly to me. All right. So I have a paper plate here covered in plastic press and seal, because then I can change it out if it gets dirty. That's where I put my pieces once I take them off of the mat. This is my mat. It's just a craft mat from IKEA. You can use a Teflon mat. They seem to work well as probably better than this would, but I have these from when I teach workshops, so we're just using this. I'm just removing any paint because I really don't need paint on them, but it's not going to harm them in any way. And then you need a wood glue of some kind. So we carry this in the shop for when I do craft kits that you can buy. So sometimes we'll have a craft kit where you can buy the things to make a craft, and I'll put in some glue for that. So we have those. So this is just a little wood glue. I do have a large wood glue that I use when I'm in my other part of my workshop, but just for ease of grabbing small things, that's what I've got. So to start, we are going to take our cornstarch, and I've got a fluffy brush. You can see the dust on there. That's cornstarch. And we're going to dust it just like you would dust a cake pan for baking. And the reason we're dusting it is we don't want the clay to stick into the mold. And I probably put way too much on there, but that's okay. While we're making these, we might as well make a few things. Now, what you can do is you can, because we need it to be pliable to fit around the edge of the flower pot, we're going to tap off the extra. Just like baking. It's just like baking, you guys. All right. So there, we've got it all dusted, ready to go. And we're going to take our paper clay. Now, I keep my paper clay in a plastic bag to keep it from drying out, because it's like an air dry clay. Shape it, let it air dry, card and paint, we're going to use it, we're going to put it on wet and let it dry in on the surface. So you just tear off a chunk of that, just like Play-Doh. Should have took my rings off, but I didn't. And you're just going to knead it. And this is paper clay. So it's fibrous paper in a clay form. You can use air dry clay. I know a lot of people will use the Model Magic by Crayola. You can use hot glue in the molds. These are a silicone mold. You can bake in these or make chocolates, that kind of thing, because they are a silicone mold. Okay, so then I'm just going to roll it out into a clay wormy. And then I just flatten it out with my fingers. And then I just lay it in the mold. So just pressing that in. And the cornstarch will help it release. So when you're working on it, it could pop out if the clay sticks to your fingers. So that's normal, so don't worry about that. We're just going to press that in, and I want to get it into all the little nooks and crannies. Now I have a Teflon scraper here where I sometimes will use it to scrape some extra off. And then I can put it down in the mold down further, because you don't want, I've put way too much up here. I can see when it's over the top. A little thicker than my mold, so I'm just going to grab it and just throw it down here. And you can peel it off with your fingers as well, because it's quite slippery. It's clay, guys. It's just clay. It's like being back in school with Play-Doh and stuff. Okay. Okay, so we're just pressing it in, making sure we get all the nooks and crannies filled with clay. And the clay will absorb some of that cornstarch. So once it starts to do that, that's a good thing, because it'll mold a little bit better. Better warm that clay up. The other clays are all nice and warm, and this one's cold out of the package. Okay, so now that I've got that there, I'm just going in and I'm just grabbing it from the sort of the middle of the band here and pulling it out to the sides to get it. And I like to hold my hand over it a little bit. You can see me holding it there. I always worry that I'm going to peel it out of the mold, so I try to hold the other half while I'm scraping off the edges so it doesn't pop out of the mold, and then I'll go over it with my fingers again. So we're just scraping off the extra. I've got quite a bit of extra down here. So we'll get that out of there. And that's what I like about this little tool, is I can use it on its edge, on the short side as well. And then we're just going to, like I said, press it in. Press it in all the places. And then we just want to make sure we've filled in all of the spots. And then take the clay. I'm going to put the clay back in the bag because I don't want it to dry out while I'm working. And then we're going to tip it over onto our mat. And then we're going to peel it. Let me do it this way so you can see. And we're just going to peel it back so that we get all the details staying in the design. And we'll just peel it back like that. And I got a little spot there that a piece stuck in the mold, but you know what? That's because I didn't scrape it all off there. So that's how we get it out of the mold. And you can see we've got a wreath now. Now I want to divide that wreath up. So I have an old butter knife here that has been in my paint studio forever. And I'm just going to carve the shape of the leaves out at the bottom here. And go underneath it and start straightening out my wreath. Because it's still moist and pliable, I can almost stretch this right out straight. Now the one point here has a section that in the wreath section would be just background, so I'm just going to cut that part right out, and that'll help me straighten it out there. And there's a spot here that I can put a little cut, and I can cut out this little bit here. And you'll see when you go to straighten it out, you're going to see where there's things that are going to try to blend together. And just very gently. Now, if it breaks apart, it's not a problem. You can take your finger with a little bit of water and then just sort of wet it and then put it back on. But other than that, there's our straightened out wreath. So now it's just a vine. We have a vine with a little bow in the middle. So now we are going to place that. Now, if this part down here comes off like that, when I go to put it on the flower pot, I will just glue that in place. So, okay, so now we're going to glue it onto the flower pot. So what I do is I flip this part over like that and like that, and I grab my glue and I grab another paintbrush to put glue on with, and I'm just going to I'll start at this end, and I'm putting my wood glue on the back while it's wet. I'm going to take my glue brush. So I have a brush here somewhere that I use for glue. I'm just going to grab one of my craft brushes. These are from our kids' workshops, and I'm just going to brush the back of this piece with the glue. And if you need to add more, go ahead. And know that if you get a little bit on the flower pot edge, it's not going to matter, because we're going to antique and distress this. We're going to paint this, and then we will antique and distress it. So let's just get all the glue on. So this is a wood glue that I'm using. Now this wood glue is a little on the thin side, and it is white, but you can use the yellow wood glue. Now this end down here may break off. That's the end of the wreath again. Don't fret. Okay, let's get our cradle back in here for our flower pot. I'm kind of far away from you guys, aren't I? Can you kind of see? Can you kind of see? Stick my tongue out, maybe I can do it better. All right, so we're going to take our flower pot like this, and we are very carefully going to lift our garland piece here and flip it over onto the flower pot. And very gently lay it down where we want it to sit. Can you guys see that okay? So I've got a little bit of clay glue on my hands. So I keep a wet Clorox wipe, Vim wipe, whatever you want to call it there. And I need to dry my hands because I don't want my hands wet because it'll stick to the clay. And I'm just very gently going to press this down. Now as it dries, you will see it may crack a little bit. That's going to add to the character of the pot. It may lift up on the edges. All I do is fill it with paint later, because I'm going to paint this white to match the regular rim. So that's how we're going to do that. All right. So there we've got that on. Can you see that, guys? And then I'm just going to put that little extra piece here on this end down here. Just set it in and just squish it in. I'm just pushing it up in towards the other clay, just so it looks like that's where it belongs, and just gently pressing it down. Now, this rim is not going to cover all the way around. So if I want to have it go all the way around, I will need to make another piece of this trim and add it back here. So I'm just going to let this dry this way so that it doesn't slip off or fall off or do anything crazy. And we're letting that dry. And then once that's dry, we are going to, let me get the brushes out of the water here, because I put the glue in there. We don't want the glue with the paint brushes. So just take that out. We'll wash those later. We're going to take some more trim after and add it to the back. So we'll just let this set up a little bit. So while that's setting up, let's do another round of molds so that I can show you one more time. How's that? We'll do the ones for this little guy here. And then once that's done, we'll do the rest off camera. And tomorrow, once this dries, I will put a coat of white paint on the moldings that we've already applied. And they will be ready for the glazing. And tomorrow we will do the glazing technique so you can see how that works. Okay? All right, so one more time for the mold. So I need to make sure there's nothing in my mold that will dry and get in the way of making a lovely mold. And remember, guys, this is just silicone, so you can just throw it in the wash. I just take it to my kitchen sink when I'm washing my brushes, and I just wash it there. So we're going to dust it with cornstarch, and that's to prevent everything from sticking inside the mold here. So we're giving it a quick dust. So this mold is from ReDesign with Prima, the same place I get my transfers from, with the exception of the blue ones that I wanted to do my blue pots with. And the paper clay, Prima does have a clay. I don't carry it. I just get I get paper clay off of Amazon. So that's where I get my paper clay, is from Amazon. And I don't have an Amazon store, so I can put the link to where I get it. But if you're in the USA, you can probably get a much better deal than we can up here in Canada for paper clay. The clay is not cheap, but it's okay. You don't use a lot, so you just want to make sure what you don't use you put in an airtight container. I've got mine wrapped up in a Ziploc bag. I fold my package down and then I put it in a Ziploc bag. So you warm up the clay in your hand, and it's wet, guys. It's a wet clay. It's kind of cool. Literally cool, like cold. Because it's wet. And so I just sort of squish it down into a snake, as the kids would say. I'm going to make a snake. And then you just push it into the mold to fill the mold up. And then once you get it all filled up, we're going to turn it out onto the table. After we trim it, we'll turn it out onto the table, and then we will attach it to the smaller flower pot here. See it sticking to my fingers and coming up when I press on it. So that's quite normal. So don't fret if that's happening to you. That is a normal occurrence for this paper clay. You don't want it to be stuck in your mold. Now these molds, you can use resin if you'd like to do resin work. You can use resin. You can use hot glue in these because they are silicone molds. I'm using this paper clay because I need it to be attached to my surface while it's wet. And if I was to do it, I couldn't do that with resin because the resin has to set, and I can't do it with the hot glue. Hot glue images are a little pliable, so I probably could do it with the hot glue. I haven't tried that yet, so I'll have to try that the next time. I have this one piece of hair that wants to be in my face the whole time. All right, so I think I've got everything pressed in. And if you have any questions, guys, don't hesitate to ask. I will do my best to answer. I am not the expert at this. I just like to do new things. And this is one of those new things that I like to do. So you see there, I pulled off way too much clay. And it didn't want to play. So the only reason we're scraping off is so that we get a flat back to glue on. So I scrape off the extra so we don't have a bump on the back, or raised up area on the back. And then I will pat it down with my fingers as well. But this just scrapes off any of the raised up high spots. And then we'll pat it down with our fingers to make sure the mold is completely filled in. There we go. I have a tag on, I have a few items for sale on my front porch here, and the tag is in my peripheral, and I have a wide peripheral, so I can see things quite a ways back, and I'm like, it keeps catching my attention. I'm like, who's there? Somebody out there? So it's kind of funny. So if you see me looking behind me, it's because I think there's somebody there. I normally have my work area facing the other direction so I can see out by the front door here. But because I've set up to work on stuff for the shows, I set my tables up in a different configuration, which I probably will change because it seems to be people are popping in and I'm in the way. I'm in the way. So if people are popping in, I can't be in the way. All right, we'll put the clay back in the container, in its packaging. We do not want our air dry clay to air dry out when it's not made into anything. And we'll roll this out onto the table here, and then we'll straighten the wreath into a straight line so we can put it on the top of the next flower pot. All right, let's clear off the table area here so we don't get stuff in our work. And we're just going to roll out the mold. So we're just going to flip it over. I rub the back, and then you just roll it. And I press down on the back here as I'm peeling up. I can feel where it is underneath here, so I can sort of press it out a little bit and make sure it doesn't stick in, and I get a nice impression on there. And there you go, peeled it right out. So this I will wash. I have a little scrub brush, and I'll scrub in all those little cracks and crevices to get it clean so we can use it again, and that will be ready to go. All right, so we're going to divide this one again like we did the last one. So we're just going to take the knife in here, and we're just going to cut some of the bits out that will be in the way when we open it. And then we will open the wreath up. And you're just basically reshaping some of the things. And this section over here we had to cut out because it won't fold back with that there. So we'll cut that little chunk out. There are straight molds that have straight garlands and things, so you can just use that. I just don't have that one yet. I had picked these up from a friend of mine over in Elgin area because I wanted to try them before I decided if I was going to carry them in the shop. So I will get some more of these molds in, and then we will be good to go. So we're going to straighten this one out. So we're just very gently persuading. Now see, that part broke off again. That's the same side that broke off the last time, but we're just gently talking this into sticking together and straightening out. And we have it nice and straight. And now we're going to take the next one, and we're going to grab another tea towel. I use tea towels as cradles to hold things. These are my old tea towel rags that we use in the shop. You know, the ones that get all stained and start to look gunky. They still absorb, but they just don't look pretty hanging on the kitchen stove. So I just bring these in, roll up each end, turn it over, and it becomes a cradle to hold my flower pot so it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so this one we will do the same thing. We're going to flip it over on its back and put the glue on. So we're just using wood glue, and I run the wood glue down the center, and then I'll use a paintbrush that I use for glue to spread it out. So just the wood glue. Get my brush out of the water, and we'll just brush that on. Anybody else dreaming of gardens? I know my one daughter has done a bunch of stuff on her back patio, and then it snowed where she is. We didn't get the snow, so I mean, it snowed, but it didn't stay. It didn't stick to the ground. I think everywhere else it's sort of, they had a white dusting this morning, or yeah, through the morning. It snowed here, but it didn't stick to the ground. Everything stayed nice and green, so, or it's getting nice and green even more, but we never had an accumulation of any kind of snow today at all. I kept looking out after reading everybody having snow. I was surprised. Okay, so there we have the glue on that one. Let's turn the flower pot around so you can see what I'm doing. Make sure I have no glue on my fingertips. And we're going to flip that up and glue it onto the front of this pot. Now this one may go all the way around or very close to all the way around, so that's kind of nice. So we're going to do that. Now this one's, in this case, I'm going to have to lift it up a little bit so I can work on it off the cloth here. So I'm just pressing it down so that the glue sticks to the flower pot, to the rim. We want it on the rim of the flower pot, not on the flower pot section. And let's turn it to this side. Try not to get too much glue on your hands while you're doing this. And we're going to have another gap on this one as well, but that's okay. The ones I did earlier, I'll show you those in 2 seconds. Let me just get this all on here. I like to keep the leaves and things from going over the top so that they don't have a chance of breaking off. And let's just press that on. So there we go. Sorry about the backwards writing, guys. So there's that one done. So we're going to leave it on its cradle to dry. But I want to cradle this one up just a little differently. I want it to sit a little higher on the back so that it doesn't squish the clay. So this is the one similar to what we just did. Same size flower pot. This one I've whitewashed over the front of it already so that it's got some antiquing or distressing done to it. But you can see here, I've left a little gap in the back where the clay only went this far. So it doesn't hurt it at all. I could put a little bee in here or something like that. But we're just going to leave it like that. So that's what that's going to look like when it's dry and painted. And this one I just did the little wreath that was at the bottom of the transfer of the mold here at the very bottom. So I just put a little one at the front of this one with the little cherub, the little putti. So that's what we've done there. So there you go, guys. So there's how we put the transfers on and how we do the clay rims on the pots. I will keep an eye on these and be checking that it's actually sticking down well with the wood glue. I find as the clay dries, you'll see gaps in the between here. In here, you'll see gaps. So you just have to constantly go in and just press it down. So I just keep an eye on it. It's no big deal if it gaps because you can fill that up with paint. That's what I do. So, so there you go. There's the blue and white version. And we'll paint this bright white to match the flower pot. And then we will do some antiquing on here to make it look old. So that's it, guys. There's the next step on how we make our flower pots. I'll be doing the glazing and the antiquing tomorrow. So be sure to pop in and watch for that. And then I will varnish them. I don't think you need to see me varnish, but I just wanted to show you all the process, all the steps in order to make these flower pots. We do have, this is a workshop for a girls' night in or something like that. So if you're thinking you're wanting to do something with your girlfriends, this is a fun little project. You can have, you know, a glass of wine, some snacks, and it doesn't take long. And in between the drying times, you know, you can have a glass of wine, whatever. So a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. So this is a good project to do with some girlfriends, and we'll get some flowers and we can plant some flowers in them and all the things. So that's that. So there's the 2 pots we did today with the blue labels and the trim on the top. There's the small, there's the large. And I'll get the other color ones done, the yellow and the green. We'll get their transfers on and their trim on. And then tomorrow we will glaze them all. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask. And we will talk real soon. Take care. Bye for now.